Good afternoon, everybody. How is it going? Mr. Pappas Office Hours, live and streaming for your viewing pleasure or just my viewing pleasure since I'm the only one that watches these things. But regardless, here I am at school headquarters. And for the next 20 minutes or so, I'm available to you guys to this live stream. I do this from time to time just to kind of make myself available in a different format to talk to my students, have them bring in questions, comments, concerns that they may have, and just to kind of broadcast things that are going down here. Since this distance learning thing has kind of shaken up the way our normal business goes on. So I welcome you guys. If you're watching this remotely after the fact, welcome. It's cool to have you guys here. I know you might not be able to, participate with the chat, but I always look forward or look often to hearing any feedback. So if there are things that you guys would like to see, topics that you would like to hear talked about, throw them in the chat, either below this or send emails out. I would love to hear from you guys and see what is what. Yeah, so here we are. Got the iPad just kind of hanging out here, doing some work. I don't know, is this gonna switch over here to the overhead? I was doing a little bit of work on some new characters. Not really sure what direction I'm gonna take any of this, but just kind of goofing around. I realize you guys can't see that as good as I can see it, but um, sketching away, drawing away. Yeah, hope all is well. Um, the classes this week so far have gone pretty well. This marks the sixth week that we've been back to school, and with the sixth week, that means that we're going to be wrapping up our first card marking, which always I think brings with it a little bit of anxiety on both sides, from the student side and from the teacher side, because you got to finalize grades and things like that. But I tried to reach out to all my students and tell them, hey, take a look at your grades, make sure that everything is lining up with your expectations. Unfortunately, I've had a pop a couple bubbles with students who have turned in late work or haven't submitted work at all. But unfortunately, it's kind of how things go. Good thing is, by the end of this week, we'll have assigned one major project to my Intro to Art class, with the other courses and their major projects coming up in the following week. So timeline wise, we're still behind where we would normally be at face to face, but we're moving at a steady pace, which I think is good. There hasn't been any hiccups with that or anything like that. So this is not sponsored by Gatorade or anything like that, but just needed to take a quick sip. Yeah, so hope everyone is doing well out there. Oh, getting some feedback, blah 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 blah. Moving windows around. So, like I said, I am not a professional streamer by any means, but I do like to do this for everyone, just in the case that there are questions that pop up, questions that people have. It's out there. It's out there for people to consume and refer back to. It helps kind of having this out there as archived footage too, because if you're looking to take one of my classes and you're not really sure what to expect from me as an instructor, as a teacher, you've got it in video format. Plus, it helps me kind of bone up my skills a little bit in regards to live streaming and stuff like that. Oh no, some of my overlays. There we go. Just getting a little bit back. There we go. So yeah, glad you guys can be there. Glad you guys are tuning in. You are first. Congratulations, gamer. Welcome to the broadcast. Like I just said, it's the broadcast isn't much. It's me hanging out here in the classroom, checking in, getting some odds and ends kind of handled. But I love hearing from you guys. I love seeing people drop in, especially those that have questions on things. It gives me an opportunity to broadcast the answers and push that advice out to people. Um, you know, just kind of cool. What's up, Hunter? Howdy. So yeah, this is currently this is right now Tuesday of the week. So we're kind of I guess you could say middle of the week or at the beginning of the week. We set up a schedule where Mondays and Tuesdays are our beginning, and then Wednesdays and Thursdays are like repeat days and things like that. So hey Christian, how's it going? Glad to see you there. Um, yeah. So good stuff. Good stuff. I've been trying to I've been trying to have conversations with my classes about what their outlook on things are in regards to how much work they're getting, how they feel about some of the work that's been kind of being handed out to them, whether or not they feel like it's more or less than they would normally be getting. And I've been kind of getting the answers that I expected. It's kind of hard, I think, for the people that I teach to reflect internally on what they can be doing or what they could be doing. Of course, everybody's been saying the same thing. I'm getting way more work, but I tend to believe that if we would come back face to face, it would just be the same thing. Oh, we're getting way too much work, and I feel like we're kind of helping along with the coaching of this opinion. I don't know if the work is actually more or less. I know we're right now in my courses where we're at, we're probably about 3 weeks behind, maybe 2 to 3 weeks behind where we normally would be, which is a big deal. So wasn't able to do module Christian. You weren't able to do module 2 because I couldn't download the images from Google Classroom. Yeah, right after you left on our Friday chat to go mow the lawn, that was something that came up. I thought I sent you an email with the files attached to it. Double check your email and let me know if you did or did not get that, because I would love to give you that. I wasn't let known that was something that was going on until it was too late, and I'm not 100% sure why the files weren't coming over. But double check your email to see that you either got something from me or you didn't get something from me, because I'm pretty sure I sent that out. Yeah, I sent you a email Saturday, October 3rd. Double check your inbox. I think this is a new thing for all students, because obviously, this generation really didn't grow up using email the way that I think email obviously is intended to use. They use instant messenger texting services where it's on demand at all times. So I think this is obviously one of those transitions that makes things a little bit harder when you have to look at a messaging service that potentially could have hours and days between. But it is something that I think a lot of the teachers, there's a floating fruit fly in here. This is something that I think teachers are trying to reach out and get people to deal with. All right, Christian, good. Yeah, double check on that. I mean, I'm looking at an email right here that says that's dated October 3rd, which is Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:15 in the morning. So let me know if it went through on your end. And then we just sit and wait. We wait for more questions. We wait for more response and feedback and things like that. And all I can do is just, reassure you guys that I appreciate you guys tuning in. Obviously, I appreciate, any feedback that you guys can give. Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I don't think I'm going to leave the broadcast go the full 45 minutes, just because I feel like streaming 45 minutes of me talking to the camera and most of the time just saying the same thing over and over again is just a repeat of, it's just like another hour to me. But, I do want to throw that out there. Yeah. Okay. Well, so you got the email. All right, good. So you got it. There you go. It's interesting, Christian. Can you help maybe in the chat and just let me know? Do you check your email on like a daily basis, or is this something that you kind of set off to the side and don't worry about it until the end of the week? Or just curious how people check their emails and stuff like that. The problem is that the teachers can't teach perfectly from home like they did in school, but they still post a lot of assignments. Well, I mean, then the question with that is you state that they're teaching perfectly in school. So if they're teaching perfectly in school, why do we have the same results when we're in school? Or does that mean you can guarantee that the results will be better when we come back to school? I mean, if they make it easier because they don't teach very well, oh, you got to be careful how you word some things here. I mean, going in and telling teachers that they're not teaching very well because they're teaching from home, I don't think is a fair assessment. I understand that there's obstacles, but that could be thrown back on the students' end. Hey, look, you're not learning very well because you're at home. You have plenty of distractions that are in front of you, like cell phones and TVs and siblings running in and out of the room, parents yelling and screaming at you, which have happened on a few of my Google Meets, and it's absolutely distracting, and I can see that. So I think if we're going to point the finger, solely at teachers, there needs to be one equally pointed back at the student and at the household, situation, and once we can kind of measure those things out, I don't think that it's I think we could kind of come to an agreement. So your MacBook has a software update. So what should I do about that? I would not do anything with the software update. Excuse me. Completely just ignore that or click remind me later. Don't install any software updates out of our network. I usually handle all the software updates on the machines myself. You could potentially run yourself into a situation where then all of a sudden you don't have a computer. So the software update won't do anything in regards to your what is it your email or anything like that, because it doesn't really have much to do with your Wi-Fi connection or anything. Hey Emily, good to see you. Yeah, I did get your remind message. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, I mean, I understand. Did you get my lengthy email message and remind message? And this is where we wait. This is the beauty of internet. While the stream is probably about delayed, I think it's 3 or 4 seconds, depending on how the signal is. Um, it's always interesting that little lag that's left over. All right. Yep. Perfect. All right. Great. So you got the email and the remind. I mean, I don't know specifically where to go. From there. You know, in all of my classes, I think I've done a really steady job, sort of explaining the layout of things. I kind of, you know, my concern that I have is I think a general concern that a lot of teachers have. And those of you guys that are here now, I'd love to hear from you guys. Why do you think students sort of wait till the last second to communicate issues that they're having with homework assignments? Awesome, Christian. I'm glad you guys got the images to download. Cool. I mean, from my perspective, you know, been doing this job for a long time, and you know, I got to admit, I've pretty much heard every excuse. You know, I didn't understand the assignment. I was scared to ask a question. You know, I don't know what question to ask. Um, I was absent. I mean, I've heard a lot of, you know, I don't want to call them excuses, but it sure feels like them. And the question that I have is, you know, knowing that an assignment is due at a certain time, knowing that there's a deadline, I'm just sort of confused as to why people either wait until the last minute or they wait until after the deadline passes to voice their concerns about, you know, the assignment. I just, it's, you know, like I said, without really having any answer to that, it leads, you know, the teacher to come up with their own idea, they come up with their own sort of um, opinion about that, which nobody ever really, you know, ever clarifies. And just for people out there, you know, understanding, I think earlier in the broadcast I said we're about two to 3 weeks behind our normal schedule, at least in my classes. You know, I have a curriculum sort of calendar that maps out where everything is at, and we're um, about 2 weeks or split in half. We're about halfway through where we normally would be. And I think that's actually reasonably fine considering I'm only seeing my classes twice a week. So that makes complete sense to me. Um, I don't think we've assigned more work than usual. I don't think we've assigned less. I mean, I think I've assigned less work. I'm just finding that you know, students' concerns when it comes to turning in that work, they're having problems um, following up. You know what I mean? Following up on their end, and you know, like I said with the question, I'm just, you know, want to make sure. Yeah, and I mean these things happen, Christian. I totally get it. My daughter actually Sunday night into Monday morning woke up at like 3 o'clock, 3:30 or so, and then wouldn't go back to sleep. So I completely slept in, and it was really hard getting up and getting in there. But you know, I think about it, and I think about, you know, well, okay, well, if I wouldn't have showed up to class because I didn't get a lot of sleep, you know, would that have been acceptable? Would have my students said, okay, no big deal, you can just teach us later on in that evening, because you weren't able to make it. You know, just go online at 11 o'clock at night and teach us, you know, the class that you normally were going to teach us because you didn't wake up. It's no big deal. I mean, I find it hard to believe that anybody would tune in at 11 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning to watch me teach, you know, digital multimedia. Yeah. So um, no, 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 no. I don't. I guess I don't look at them as excuses unless there's no response that I'm getting. You know, I totally understand that people want to get caught up. I totally understand that things take longer, but you know, obviously there's also, yeah, with work there's obviously also time limits that need to be understood. And unfortunately, I think what's kind of getting lost in communication on things like this are If students wait until after the deadline on a project, if students are waiting until the day or two after something was supposed to be turned in to voice some of their concerns on things, it's really hard for me to understand whether or not that's an honest concern or if that's just them saving face because they waited too long to work on something without really getting any type of feedback on what they're I of course I get that there's tons of work going on, but I think what works easier, what makes more sense is, hey, look, I've got this schedule. I've got 5 days here of work, and I am super overwhelmed. Which one of my teachers would be willing to give me a bit of an extension? And let me go contact them first to see if it's even a possibility. And if it isn't, then I'll work down the line instead of waiting until the last second. Because I'll be honest, waiting until the last second to me feels like it's an afterthought, right? It's kind of like doing something or saying something that you know you shouldn't say because it could offend somebody, or it could hurt somebody's feelings. And then after you do that, after you say that and realize that it was the wrong thing, and someone tells you, "Hey, look, that was the wrong thing to say. You really messed up. You hurt their feelings." You go back and you go, "Hey, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that." Well, that's convenient. It's after the fact that it happened. Like it's not really, I don't know if it's necessarily fair to do that because you had an opportunity to not say it or not go down that path, but you chose to. So again, I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy with the answers that I give, but I think that they're real answers. I think they're true answers and things like that. Yeah, I hope that the advanced course is aware that there's another module coming up and due this week. My advanced classes, let it be on the record right here for anybody interested in the future, or if you're watching this later on, my advanced classes are completely self-paced. What that means is the work is out there for my advanced classes to see from now until the end of the semester. They've got time to work on it, and they've got deadlines, and I do leave it up to them to communicate those issues that they might be having. And I'll be honest. I mean, there are people that are honoring that and saying, okay, cool, I need to ask some questions and get in contact. And then there's some people that I haven't heard from at all. I can't get in contact with. I can't find, nail down or anything. Sweet. I'm glad you get that, Emily. The one thing that I will say is with us just kind of figuring out where we all lay right now, where this all stands. It's clear that there's still some kinks being worked out. So moving forward, whether we return, within the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or month to face or not, if we keep doing this virtual thing, I think more and more teachers and more students are going to start to get familiar with this and work out all the things, work out all the wrinkles that are there. Personally, what I'm working out, and that's the hardest to me, is just making sure that the time in my classes is being respectful to students that are taking my class. The students' workloads and stuff like that. I so far have given basically one assignment a week, and it might not be at the start of the week, but I have given students that are in my classes at least 5 days to complete that assignment and get into contact with me. I've had a couple students reach out and say, hey, look, I'm going to be going out of town, or I've got this doctor's appointment. Is there any way I can get an extra day, or can I do this? And as long as it comes before the deadline, I have no problem honoring that, because at least you're letting me know prior to the fact. If it comes after the fact, like I said, it's just harder to guarantee that that's actually a problem. So yeah, we're in the last kind of the home stretch here of the live stream. So I'll probably leave this open for the next couple of minutes to see if anybody pops in and has questions. I like to try to keep this to a half an hour. I'm still available, obviously, here in the room. I just don't know if it's really all that important to leave a live stream open for 45 minutes if it's just going to be me talking. I don't think any of my students want to tune in to hear an extra hour of me blabbing and talking and stuff like that. But I am available. So if the stream cuts out in a half an hour, or the half hour after a half an hour, My email address, all my social media contacts are right up there. I hope that my students reach out and things like that to ask those questions. Well, look, Emily, I'll be honest with you. If you can turn in something to me, I will look through it. I'll go through it and see what I can do credit wise for you. I know that might not be the answer that you're looking for, but if you've got something, get it turned in so I can look at it, and then from there, figure out exactly where you're making your mistakes. I mean, again, the graphic design course is built on the premise that we're working together on things. So I'll demonstrate some stuff. I'll allow you guys some time to work on it, and of course, we're seeing each other only 2 times a week. Um, Presents its own obstacles. I mean, if people are absent for a little bit or they don't, they get kicked on and kicked out, it is hard to make sure things are working the way they need to. So it's really important for you guys to reach out and communicate those things that are happening. So, Emily, just please send in something and I'll take a look at it, see what we can do. Ba, 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 ba. Yep. So now we count down. Now we just count down, count down, count down, count down. Cool. Yes, please. At least get something in. Yeah. Answering emails, shooting out remind texts, doing a live stream. Who says I can't multitask? Who said it? Because I want to find them. I think this was a rather productive live stream. Not zero emails have come through, so there's that. But I think we had a pretty decent chat here going on. Hopefully, people check in and tune in to see some of this stuff. What wasn't you? What wasn't you, Christian? I mean, the joke that I always say is to my students when I'm trying to get them to ask questions and stuff like that is, hey, make me work for my paycheck, right? Don't let me sit back here and just collect free money because you guys don't want to ask questions or challenge me to answer things. And sometimes that strikes a nerve, and people are like, all right, I'm gonna get them. Sometimes not. Sometimes they just let me go. I appreciate that. No, I can multitask. Yeah. No, I think to be honest, that could be the biggest issue that I think a lot of people are having learning at home. They haven't set themselves up in an environment that allows them to multitask at learning objectives, but yet they're multitasking in other ways, right? Someone turned on the chat in their one of my classes earlier today, and I could hear ESPN in the background because I heard something say ESPN, blah blah blah. I could hear family members shouting and screaming and stuff like that, and I'm guessing that they had their phone out too. So I mean, with all that static going on, I do think that it can lead to having tons of problems. So yeah, hopefully people are understanding that and trying to take steps to working through it. Well, that is 2:30 on my clock. So I want to thank everyone out there who's tuned in. I want to thank those of you guys that had questions and came to this stream with things that you wanted to answer. Hopefully, I was able to give you guys at least some sort of insight there. Again, if you're watching this after the fact, please leave comments, subscribe, leave feedback. I love to hear every little bit. And then, of course, obviously, if you click the little bell icon alerts, you'll know when we go on live again. I try to keep this to a timely manner, about 30 minutes. This is just me, Mr. Pappas, signing off. Wishing you guys all well. Do good, guys, and I will see you next time. All right, bye.